Welcome to the Turn Academy with Coach Dave. Looking here at Pete's setup posture, his arms and hands are in a pretty good position. He's got a spine tilt forward, but we do see a major rounding of the back and neck. That's a binding up. The cure for that, obviously, is some stretching, but is to pull the shoulders back. Good golfers have a flat back because they set up with their shoulders back and their chest proud and open. It's a little freer, it's a little wider gap between the shoulders than he is there. He's a little crunched in that position right there. Let's go ahead and watch the swing in slow motion. Staying on the plane pretty good. Not a bad position right there. We'll stop at the top. At the top of the backswing, he's got himself into a really nice situation, except you notice that the head has turned quite a bit because you can see the bill of the cap is now pointing a little bit more back towards the camera. A couple of good things we're going to look at here is the triangle that the arms form is pretty much still intact, a nice triangle there. The elbows haven't separated. His head is still at about where it was at setup. The left knee has dropped a little lower, which is a little bit of a collapsing. But one of the key ingredients we see here is that the lead arm is now parallel to the swing plane. That's a great position. Very difficult to get to. Now from there, if we can just learn to reroute the club on the way down, let's see what happens. Down he comes, very nicely. A little bit over the top, but not bad with the hands, and look at the flight. Now, if he was looking to increase his distance rather than just stay accurate, we'd work a little bit on his leg work. But what he'd like here is we go back again, see where he is at impact. Here comes the ball back. Gonna have the ball come back and hit him in the club. See where he is there? That's a pretty nice position. So as he comes in through impact, very nice position. Trail arm under the lead arm, eyes looking down at the golf ball, butt where it was before, and right on through to a nice dead straight swing. Good job. This is a relatively new golfer. She's been working on a lot of issues. The one thing she's been working on really hard is to be able to swing comfortably around her body to a nice good finish and use her lower body to help drive the club forward towards the target. One of the issues she's still having is a tremendous amount of movement laterally in both the backswing and the forward swing. Let's see how she does here. We got an 8th speed. We're going to see as she takes the club back. One of the first things that happens is the head starts moving back too. Everything's moving back and away. Good width in the swing though. Not a bad position. Stop right there. You can see how far she's pulled off the power line. Her left ear was on that red line when she started her backswing. The other thing we're going to look at, if I blow it up a little bit here, you'll look at how much her lead arm has kind of rolled over. If you look right in here, see how much the wrist is bent. We want that arm to stay nice and flat. We don't want to bend it that way. That's a power robber and probably isn't really good on our muscles either. So let's bring it on down now to impact. Again, staying at slow motion. There's the head coming back, gets it back and a little bit past, but not bad. Now, let's take a look at what she's done here. This is really nice. I'm going to clear everything out of the way. Now, she was having a tough time rotating onto the lead foot before, had a tough time getting extension of the hands, but look how she's much, much better. Almost a full rotation of the hips prior to impact. Very good. The next thing we're going to work on, obviously, is keeping those, the head in the same position, and then trying to get the hands to roll over here, which means the left elbow's got to stay a little more tucked against your body so that I can see the back of your trail hand or your non-glove hand and the fingers of your gloved hand in this shot here, just the opposite of what we see here. If we could match that spot, be right there the same way, we'd be in a great position. Very good job, DB. Well, let's go ahead and watch this video in slow motion. It's the best way, I think, to see what's going on. We'll start out with a really nice setup here. He's well balanced, looks in a good position. We'll draw in the proverbial power line. That's the line we want to try to move our body into, the trail side of our body into that line to create power. We'd also like to have our hands past that red line at impact. So let's go at 8th speed, see what goes on here. A little collapsing of the left knee on the takeaway, head staying fairly still. A little lifting right there, a lot of rotation, very nice. Hip starts to go. Then he pops up and out of the swing and jumps up out of it and really doesn't pivot on to that lead side prior to impact. You can see where his hands are, well behind the golf ball at impact. At this point right now, we want to see some lag. So actually the golf club should be back here on that line at that point. He's facing the ball at impact, which is okay for a single plane swing, but we don't have any rotation of the lower body. See that? There's nothing going on. It's all arms. He's lifting up. We're nowhere for the energy to go but up. It's got to go somewhere. So if it's not going around your body, if you're not rotating, then you got to go up. Where else are you going to go? Then he pivots late. Notice both feet have spun out. He hasn't transferred his weight to the outside of the lead foot. He just spun around on the toes. Drawn in 2 lines here. The white line is obviously a spine tilt. The red line is the swing path, or the plane of the swing as prescribed by the golf shaft at setup. We'll go ahead and play the swing to begin with. 8th speed, slow motion as usual. Good setup, nice looking golfer. He's got a really good swing. But what I want you to pay attention to is what's going to go on right down here. That right heel is going to come off the ground at exactly the point where the weight should be transferred almost completely on to the inside of the right foot. It's going to come off the ground. So we're going to start it back at 8th speed. Pretty decent takeaway. See a little bit of rotating the left arm outside. Club head's on the plane. There goes the foot right there, well before the top of the backswing. He's in a stuck position there. He can't rotate. And what he came to me about was that after some medical issues, he seems to have lost a lot of power. And I think the power was lost right inside that blue circle right here. It's really hard at that point to drive into the lead side. And you can see the right knee has a tendency to come out rather than drift towards the other side. The upper body looks great. He's doing everything correctly. It's got great extension. The club head is straight down the golf line. You can see direction's not an issue. The ball's high in the air, well struck. But he's got to learn how to keep that right foot planted a little longer. I like Mo Norman talking about Tiger Woods' swing from years and years ago when Tiger was going through one of his little struggle. He said, Tiger loves the work, trying to figure out what he's doing wrong, so don't tell him, but it's his right heel coming off the ground. It's your right heel coming off the ground. Okay, we have a golfer at a pretty good setup right here. His hands are a little too far away from his thighs. We'd like to see that to be a 144-degree angle. You can see we got a 150-degree angle. So if he moved his hands in just a little bit closer or stood up maybe a little taller, he'd be in a better position. Dave's problem is he has a tendency to get too vertical in the takeaway, creating not only a 2-plane setup, but a 2-plane swing. The modern swing is more of a flattened out circle that's going to really be parallel to the bottom blue line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in a line right here. So the swing needs to be between the blue line and the white line. So we're going to see what happens here. We'll play it in 8th speed. Pretty decent takeaway. Club head's outside the hands, which is okay. Now he's going to go straight up. Notice he's just really steep. Now right here, you can see that his elbows are in the wrong position. At this point, he needs to find a way to get his trail elbow back down under his lead arm. He's in a reverse position right here. The only thing he can do from this point now is to continue outside and on top and pull across the ball. Now he's getting some good shots out of it, but he's lacking some power. So we'll just back up a little bit and just show if he could reroute the club from this position right here, straight down, right back down to here, and then to the golf ball, instead of out. See how he's moving out? Well, the reason he's moving out is because he can't get this right elbow tucked into his side. It's flying out behind him. At the top of the backswing, we'd like to see, I'm going to clear everything out of the way, we'd like to see this trail arm here, up here. so that the hands are back here. He's too steep. You see that? Let's look at it closely, and then over the top he comes. Smashes down on it, takes a pretty hefty divot, good swing. You can see where his hands are now. That's where I'd like them to be, at the top of his backswing. They're not anywhere near that. We're going to play this swing in fast motion. I just want you to see how quick it is. You can see the amount of energy he's using. He spins his feet out. He's swinging really hard. Oops, I'm going to back that up again because that was slow motion. Let's start it out at full motion. Look at his feet, how twisted he is. Now, his whole swing, I'm going to go back to the beginning. We're at 14.1 seconds in the video at this point. We're going to go forward slowly. He starts to swing back at 14.3, goes to the top, and makes impact at 15. So about 7/10 of a second to execute his whole swing. A pro is going to take about 1.2 seconds, but be about 40 miles an hour faster in his swing because he has a longer arc, takes more time on the way back, and is able to whip the club through impact. What we're working with Bob is to get him to be a little bit more relaxed. What he's trying to get to is about in here. There's his target, which he does pretty good. You can see that he's aiming his feet way out to the right. He's in a power stance. His shoulders are pretty far to the left. Let's go ahead and play this swing in super slow. Takes the club back to the inside, which is where it'd be natural. Now look at where he is right now. He stood straight up. Now he's got the club on plane, but because he's standing up, you can see there's tension. He's not able to rotate. Also, there's a lack of hinge in the wrists. At this point now, I'd like to see the butt end of the club or the grip end of the club start pointing back towards the camera a little bit. And you see he never does that. Then he has this big over-the-top loop right here. Over-the-top loop. There's no centrifugal advantage there to swinging down at the golf club from on top. Now he manages to get himself back in a good position. That's good athleticism. But if we could teach him how to reroute that club, when he gets up to here, start the club back down and then forward, he's going to be in a better position. And we got to get him to relax. One of the toughest things to do is get somebody to slow down. So what ends up happening is we're going to back up. You can start to see the ball come back into view. There's the ball. The ball's out here. I'll do it a little red line. There's the ball out there. And it's going to go more to the right as he hits off. I don't know if we can ever catch it coming back down again. That's a long ways away. He swings that hard and yet barely makes 150 yards with his driver. If he can just relax and slow down, we'll have him hitting well up to a 200-mile-an-hour drives. But it's something he's got to control from inside. It's nothing you can do from the outside. Here we got the lefty. He's got kind of a Jimmy Furyk setup where his hands are really close to his thighs. Let's watch this takeaway in slow motion. See what happens. Boy, he's right on the swing plane. Look at that. You can have a two-plane setup and still basically a one-plane swing, which he does really well. The problem is he lifts up and out of the swing. We're going to go back to the top of the backswing here and take a look, and you can see how far he's lifted up. There he is coming through an impact. Look where he is now, at the top of his backswing. Well, it's back all the way up to the setup. You can see he's right back to that spot again. We need to get him to keep his position the same, where the head and the hips are staying at the same level. What's happening is he has a tendency to move his butt in, and his, right about there, you can see he gets all tightened up, and now he's going to shift in towards the ball with his left knee, his trail knee. See how it moves in towards the ball? That's going to change his spine tilt. And he's in a kind of a bound up situation there, and his hands got a little too high. If we can get him just to move his trail knee to his lead knee, he's going to be really good. The energy in the golf swing's got to go somewhere. Ideally, we'd like it to move around our body in a nice centrifugal motion and be long and towards the target. If we don't rotate, the energy is going to go somewhere, and more often what happens is the energy ends up going straight up and down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in his spine tilt. Now the target is just about in here, where he's trying to get to. And what you'll see is that he's going to swing even to the left of that, which is going to force him to stand almost straight up with his legs. So we're going to play this forward, nice slow-mo. Good posture right there. And all of a sudden the posture is going to start breaking down, about right there. See how he's popping up and out of the swing? See how soon his elbow sticks out from behind him? Now the ball's quite a bit to the right of where his target was, at least for a wedge shot. And then he's coming up on his toes. Instead of rotating as a unit from here, we want the elbows and chest to rotate as one unit, so the club goes down the target line instead of pulls in sharply inside and ends up aiming. And you could see if we drew the line on this one, you'd see that the club obviously is going off over that direction somewhere, not anywhere near the target. We're going to work here in the future with this young man on getting a little straighter back at setup. We don't want to start getting those shoulders rolled over. In order to do that, what we want him to do is have his butt over his heels, not well past the heels. We draw a red line in down here. You can see how far back he is. That's too far back. We would like to see the hip joint lined up over the ankles, which would move up. You know, there we drop the ankles. That's where the hip joint should be. That would straighten his back out, get him in a little more comfortable position. It wouldn't have quite so much flex in his knees, and he'd have his belt tilted more down towards the golf ball instead of as flat as it is. Let's clear all that stuff out of the way. We'll draw in a nice blue color to match his nice shirt. There's the swing plane. We'll draw in, and we'll use the same color blue because we want him to stay match coordinated. Nice 90-degree angle between the tilt forward. Even though the back's a little rounded, I just go by where the ear is and the hip joint. That looks pretty good. Let's play his swing forward in slow motion. Starts the club back nicely on plane, lifting the hands a little bit more than he needed to. That's a posture issue. There he is at the top. Really good. Again, we're looking at the trail arm bent at 90 degrees, the lead arm parallel to the swing plane. Pretty good position there. He's still got his spine tilt forward. He's in a pretty good place there. The left heel is off the ground a little bit. I'd like to see him get that planted, but he's going to plant it on the way down, and that's what counts. See, there he's planting it, shifting onto the and powering right on through the swing. Maybe caught it a little fat, but he's right on his target line. Later on in the day, he and I went out and played with a couple of other adults, and he played really good. Beat a couple of them, got 3 pars in 9 holes. Pretty good golf. Very proud of him. One of the hottest training aids out now is called the Tourangle 144. That measures the angle of the club shaft to the forearms. She's at 146. That's just about perfect. Very nice. What you're going to see is a very rhythmical swing, a nice setup, good athletic posture. Which is really stunning is this is a golfer that mostly just practices on the range about every other Saturday, and she's very new at it, and she's doing really, really well. Let's just watch this swing in a nice 8th speed slow motion. Nice turn back on the plane. Look at the shoulder line, very nice. Good relaxed hinge at the top. Drives the club down a little bit to the outside. Good impact, and a little off to the right. The reason off to the right is she didn't quite have the club face rotated closed at impact. You see right there how open it is. So she's catching it and coming across it a little bit, catches it out on the toe just a little bit. And that's because the right knee is not moving to the left knee, but moving out more towards the golf ball. Not bad though. She's got a good rhythm and tempo, and it's got a good understanding of what the swing is. Here we have a golfer just down from the chilly white north. Didn't play much this summer, but he's picking up right where he left off and doing a really good job of it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in the spine tilt, and then I'm going to draw in the swing path in white. Then we're going to play it in slow motion. Good ratio there, good relationship between the spine and the hands. It's not so easily done. 8th speed, and play. Nice smooth takeaway. A little too far to the inside, but not bad. Good head position right there. Arms parallel to the ground. Drops a little bit. Hands up maybe a little higher than he wanted to be. But all in all, when you consider that for 6 months now he's hardly swung a golf club, looks pretty good. Let's go to the impact position right here. You can see a good extension right there. One of the things I like looking for is, do I have a view between the arms here? And if I do, we're in a pretty good position. And you can see clearly we do have a view there. Let's go back to the top. I look for the parallel look. I would like to see the hands a little higher. In order to do that, we'd like to see this trail arm being a little more upright, which then would bring the hands up higher. But we do like the fact that the elbow is pretty close to the swing plane and that the lead arm is almost parallel to the swing plane. Nicely done, John.